When I first arrived in town and started working at the local hospital, I foolishly decided to do a little extra work. I agreed that I would also be on duty at night at the morgue of the hospital. I had heard terrible stories about it from my colleagues, but I shrugged it off. I thought that everyone was scaring me, just to have a laugh, or to take my job away. It did not embarrass me that there had been no hunters on duty for a long time. No one could be forced to go there. When I asked my colleagues, they either joked about it or said that our clients were walking around there at night. So I got a place without any problems. The chief physician even shook my hand and announced his gratitude. The first night I was uneasy. I made my rounds, went into the room where there was a sofa and an outdated TV set, had dinner and sat down to watch TV. I did not notice anything unusual on my first watch, and nothing after a month. I saw that people began to look at me respectfully. At first they kept asking me what was going on, but I had nothing to tell them. I came, checked if everything was all right, ate, and went to bed. It was a small town, and I was lucky that they did not bring anybody in at night. But I was on duty on Halloween night. The holiday is not particularly famous, so dabbling, but I heard all sorts of stories from people. So when I came on duty, I felt something was wrong that night. The autumn wind is blowing outside the window. The trees are scratching the windows with their branches, but there is still an incomprehensible ringing silence inside. It was as if everything was frozen in anticipation of something sinister. I thought I was winding myself up. After that, everything was as usual. I ate, watched TV and was about to go to bed at the first hour of the night. And all of a sudden I heard footsteps somewhere in the depths. A man slaps his bare feet on the tiles. Such uncertain footsteps, like a drunk. Then there was a sound, as if a chair had been dropped in the office. I see, I thought someone had decided to scare me on Halloween. He hid, waited until midnight, and now he's scaring me. I got out of bed, whistling, and took a flashlight to scare the scarecrow. I wanted to jump out at him, scream, and shine the flashlight directly into his eyes. And maybe give him a couple of blows, so he wouldn't do any more nonsense. Outside the window there was wind, clouds, and rain. The morgue was a sight for sore eyes. But I crept confidently without light, because I knew everything like the back of my hand. I tiptoed into the office, where I had last heard the sound of footsteps. I saw the silhouette of a man, a broad-shouldered man, in the background of the window. There he was, except that it was a little confusing. It was dark in the office, I couldn't tell if he was dressed or not. The man swayed and took a step toward me, but a step uncertain, as if he could hardly remember how to move his feet. I decided not to pull anymore. I shouted at him a flashlight and shone the beam of light directly into his eyes. But I choked on my scream, and it got stuck deep in my chest. I recognized the man as the client I had brought in the other morning. The eyes were glassy, unblinking. They stared at me, made me shiver. I even felt my hair rising. I thought it was a hackneyed expression, but it was. I could feel my hair on top of my head. But that was not the worst part. I heard rustling in the corridor, I do not know how, but it was like I smelled it. Flashlight in the corridor pointed. My mother, and there are all our customers slowly down the corridor walking in my direction. A little more and they will block the exit from the office, locking me in a trap. And the big man came at me. He walks in silence. Only I could hear in the silence the slow, creepy footsteps. I rushed away from the office. I had never run so fast. I reached the front door, but I remembered that it was locked. And the key was on the nightstand in my room. But I could not get there, because I heard the footsteps in the hallway getting closer and closer. In general, I kicked out the door with fear. Even my shoulder, as it turned out later, dislocated. I ran in the windy night like I had never run before. In the morning I decided to come back. And apart from the broken door and the overturned chair in the office, nothing reminded me of the night's incident. I was never on morgue duty again, not even under threat of dismissal. Thank you for watching and supporting me. Subscribe to the channel, there will be many more interesting things.